Hello, tubers, family and friends. Just waking up here early this morning, about 6:45 a.m. here at the Golden Palace in northwestern Mindanao. Still pretty overcast. The last, I don't know, at least about a week now. It's been pretty cool and raining every day. It's 75 degrees right now at 6:45, and that's pretty cool. I haven't run the aircon for a week because the weather is just so nice and cool. I don't even have to run the aircon. Just perfect weather as far as temperature goes, and that's like about 7 or 8 degrees cooler than normal. But like I say, the majority of the time it's between 82 to 86 here year round. So that's quite a differential of weather here. And a lot of people, in case you're wondering too, as far as the sunlight goes, if it was a clear day in the winter time here, it's about 30 minutes difference when the sun goes down in December 21st, about 30 minutes shorter day than compared to June 21st. So, because we're so close to the equator, there's really not that much differential per day-to-day sunlight. So yeah, just trying to wake up here, walking around, doing my little walk around chores when I first wake up. And yesterday we were able to clean the pool a little bit. I still got the creepy crawler hose out there in the pool that vacuums off the bottom of the pool. So it's not in perfect condition right now, but that's why I left the creeper crawler still in the pool, because we're probably going to clean it again here maybe tomorrow or the next day. It's all, I usually don't like to run any extra electrical stuff when there's no sun because of the solar and the power situation. I'm on a budget, so I try to lessen my electric usage as much as possible. So yeah, at least it's not wet. It hasn't rained here for over 12 hours, so it's all dry as far as the driveway goes. So yeah, just walking around here trying to wake up. But one thing I did for you guys as a clue when you come to the Philippines, to acclimate yourself to the sounds of the roosters and dogs barking and loud mufflers on motorcycles, is to, wherever you're staying, just make sure that you have a lot of sound barriers, especially like in your bedroom, and which would include, if you have windows, like what I had to do is I put additional thickness of glass panes on all my windows. So if you're building a house, make sure you get the thickest glass that you can, because that will help tremendously with sound barriers. Like I can barely hear in my bedroom now any of those noises, right? And plus I have a fan on, so that makes a little bit of a constant background hum, so that really helps you trying to sleep too. So yeah, now my bedroom is an absolute sanctuary from sound because of my fan in there, and then the extra thick windows I have now in my bedroom area. and that helps big time for people trying to get acclimated to it. Once you're here a few years, you're going to be acclimated to all that stuff, and it won't bother you near as much. So, prepare yourself for that. Like when we were first here, right in this area here where the carport is, we had what was called the bunkhouse, a temporary little 2-room shack, one for Lilibeth's mother and father and brothers, and then one smaller room for just me and Lilibeth. And that's what we lived in. It was just a bamboo hut, basically, that Papa and the boys built. We lived in that for little over 2 years while the house was being built. And at that time, I wasn't here very much anyways. I was flying back and forth to the U.S. and working in Alaska. So I was only here, like once every 2 to 3 months for like 10 days, something like that, right? So, that was the early days that when Lilibeth and I got married right away. I mean, we were married within 2 months, 2.5 months of meeting. And like I say, in the Philippines, Lilibeth is mostly a province girl, right? She was raised in her older days in the city. She got a high school diploma, and she actually went to a college for 2 years for caregiver. But she was mostly raised in her very young age, till age 8 or 9, in the province here, right where we're living now. This is where she grew up when she was small, and this is where we built. And I wanted to be away from the city, because you want to be, once you have your marriage established that can never be divorced, then you start buying land and building your house, or buying more land for your agricultural farming. It's all going to go back to farming, because of the turmoil in the world of what's happening. The whole financial system is going to collapse, and wars are going to happen, major wars. And the urban centers, a lot of them are going to fail and be bombed out or destroyed. And a lot of the people are going to go back out into the deep jungles, into the forests, into the prairie lands, into the field areas, and start being farmers again. Just because out of a necessity, you're going to have to start producing food again the way it used to be in the early days of so many countries, just to survive. And that's the way it's going to be. So get your land, and there's so many arguments on YouTube about owning land in the Philippines if you're a foreigner. If you're a single foreigner, it's illegal to own land. If you're a married foreigner, it's absolutely legal per the law in the Philippines to own land. I have like 5 or 6 different properties that I've purchased where my name is on the deed of sale as a foreigner. My name is on the title of the land as a foreigner. I'm just telling you what I've done while I'm here, and I absolutely, my name is on the documents. I am a legal owner as a foreigner in the Philippines, but the only way you can do that is by being married to a Philippine national. So, that is the law. And if your Philippine wife, your Filipina, passes away, you have 1 year as a foreigner to sell the property or sign the property into the name of, and get it titled into the name of a Philippine national. So if you and your Filipina have a child, at any time you can sign it over into the name of your child. Let's say you're a foreigner and you're getting old and and your health is going down or something, and if you've had a child together, transfer all that stuff through deed of sale or title into your child's name that you've had with your Filipino wife. So that's an important thing for your future right there. So then you know that your children are gonna have the property. And in the Philippines, anyways, it's 50-50. Once you die as the foreigner or as the husband here, then 50% of the land goes to the wife if she's still living, and the other 50% go to all the siblings, all the children, right? So that's the way it is here in the Philippines. You don't need, there's so much bad advice given to so many of the foreigners and people here. They don't even know what the complete law is, or if they do know it, they don't even tell it to you, or they only tell you part of it. So you can what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. But land ownership is easy. You just make sure you go to a lawyer, right? Absolutely make sure you go to a lawyer and do all your footwork before you put any kind of money down on any piece of land. Make sure all your ducks in a row. Get it all documented. Make sure that the property is going to be signed in your name. I mean, one time we were on a mother's title, what's called mother's title, and it was given to seven children, right? The parents had passed away, and it was 7 children that owned equal shares of this piece of property, one of our properties that we purchased, right? 5 hectares. And so all 7 of those brothers and sisters had to come to the lawyer's office, and they all had to sign off on a deed of sale contract, give all their ID, give everything, and before the deal could go through. And then we got deed of sale on that property. And oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. You don't need title. Foreigners, especially U.S. foreigners, are so hung up on the fact that you have to have title. Well, for one thing, they don't even know what they're talking about, because even in the U.S. now, titles are not true land titles. It's a joke. The titles in the U.S. now are not allodial titles, so you don't own the land anyway. All that is bullshit, because if you're paying a property tax on that land, the land is not yours. So remember that. And so the law in the Philippines is deed of sale. That's all. That is proof, legal proof of ownership of land in the Philippines. Deed of sale, period. Get the whole title thing off your brain, because that's not the law in the Philippines. Yeah, you can spend all the extra money to have it switched over into a title, which we have, like I say, 6 different properties, I think it is, that we purchased of land, and 2 or 3 of the 6, we spent the extra money and got clear title changed over into our name. So we have half of our properties don't have title, half of them do, and the ones that don't have title, we have deed of sale. And again, 500 times, guys, you don't need a title. If you're paying property tax on it, it's not your land anyway. It's the municipality's land, because they will come and take your land. Well, in the U.S., they'll come and take your land, but the enforcement here in the Philippines compared to the U.S. is like 1% of how Gestapo Nazi like they are in the U.S. Here, everyone understands that the population is poor, and you can't hardly pay your taxes on property. It's illegal anyways, but that's the so-called laws that have been, instituted in most countries about the property tax. It's just another way to fleece people, because like I say, allodial title is the way it used to be for centuries. Is you cannot put any kind of a court-ordered lien or a court-ordered tax or a municipality-ordered property tax on an allodial title. Allodial title means true land ownership, and that's the way it was for centuries. And just over the last century is when these evil government officials started passing the laws to basically take your land title away, and through all the transferring of property and sales of property throughout the world, that they've eliminated allodial title almost 99%. I mean, there's very few allodial titles left in the world, but I guarantee you these super rich people, they have allodial title on their land. I guarantee you that. And you can still do it, but you have to be rich and powerful to get allodial title anymore. So that knocks out 99% of most people being able to even get allodial title anymore. So anyways, I hope everyone is very clear on that now. And people say, oh, don't listen to YouTubers. And that's true. Don't listen to YouTubers. Get advice from YouTubers or what they're saying. Take their experiences of what, like I've just explained to you what I've done with land in the Philippines, and just then take that and go read the law. Even the law, I've read all the laws here, so that's why I know. Even these like GNC consultants, I forget her name, Heidi, yeah. She's real good, and she's nice, Filipina and stuff, and I'm sure she knows most of her stuff, but she still doesn't know the complete law, or if she does, she hasn't been saying it, because I've seen about 20 interviews of her with other foreigners of the laws, and she's still wrong on the laws. So she's not a lawyer, she's just a consultant. So what you need to do, if you want to know the truth, you go to the law itself. And every single person has the ability with this day and age of internet to go to the law and find out what the truth is about the law. You just look it up and then you read it. So even about property taxes, I know the laws of property taxes here in the Philippines. If you don't pay your property taxes after 5 years, there's no way that the municipality or anyone else can come and put a lien on your property for those years. After 5 years, it's washed away. They can never do back taxes on you, right? They can only do it up to 5 years, and then anything after 5 years, that's bad on the municipality, that they didn't come to you with a court order saying you owe property taxes, blah blah blah. So you have 5 years, and so. I mean, I've read even all the statistics on that. There's like half the population, literally, in the Philippines, about half the population has never paid their property tax. And the municipalities can never go back tax on them after 5 years. That's just the law here. I mean, read your law. I mean, every single country in the world has laws of the way it is. Don't listen to consultants. Don't listen to YouTubers. Don't listen to anyone else. I mean, you can take their advice with a grain of salt, put it in your mind, and then go research what this person says to see if it's true or not, right? That's the way it works. But so many people are so lazy to say, oh, I don't want to go looking for the law. It's so hard, I'm just going to take the word of this person. Well, that's why majority of the countries in the world are in the situation they're in right now, because they're lazy and all the wealth has been stolen from them over the years. The case in point, the whole allodial title thing, true ownership of property. with no property taxes. That used to be the way it was for centuries. And now, like I say, that's all gone. Why? Because people let it happen. That's right. Same thing with this tyrannical, terrible governments that are a majority of the countries. Russia, China, US, UK, all these countries now have tyrannical, evil, criminal, terrible governments that are destroying their countries and destroying the people of the countries because of what they're doing, of their criminal activities. And that all has to be wiped out and stopped. Get back to good, honest money and good, honest living. The biggest part of why there's so many suicides going through the roof and so many scams and so many terrible things of stories of people getting ripped off in every single way that you can think of is because of the fiat money system, backed by nothing, backed not by gold and silver, backed by the promise of the government. I mean, come on. So the money keeps getting more worthless and more worthless because they keep printing such massive amounts of money digitally nowadays. They don't even need paper anymore. And where do you think all that instantly created money goes? It goes to all these scumbag criminals in the government. And that's what, and then it trickles down from there. And the common average man can't even make a decent living anymore. Inflation's going up so much because the currency is worthless anymore. So inflation's so terrible. My brother is in the US and he told me the other day, he went and bought a muffin. It's a big muffin, right? Like a breakfast muffin and a couple bags of licorice, or not even bags, little tiny containers of licorice, $17 for little bag, 2 little tiny things of licorice and a muffin. $17, where it used to be like $2, $3. Prices in the U.S. The inflation has gone up here too in the Philippines, because we're under a fiat money system too. But it still ain't near as bad in the Philippines as compared to the U.S. right now. U.S. in the last 2 years, the price has gone up between 50 to 100%. So if something was $10 before, now it's either $15 or $20. I mean, this happened within the last 2 years. And it's going to get worse. It's going to keep getting worse. I mean, the Federal Reserve right now it raised all its interest rates up to the point where it's about breaking the system. Banks are failing constantly, and they're giving billions, hundreds of billions to banks to stay afloat because the interest rate's so high. All their loans, people can't pay them anymore because the economy is such in a terrible condition, and the whole thing is just teetering on a total collapse right now. So that's why I'm in the Philippines. God told me 8 years ago, Todd, before that, probably at least 15 years ago, God told me, get out of the U.S. Just like in Nazi Germany, the Jews were warned years before, before Hitler even took over. There was a depression, and Hitler took over because it was a depression and bad economy, right? And the same thing is repeating now in the U.S. and other countries, just because of the money is so terrible and so bad. So the thing to do is get out, like I've done. Get out of the U.S., come to the Philippines. It's the only country left in the entire world that's a Christian country. It's 90% Christian, 85 to 90%, and it's English speaking, only English Christian country in all of Southeast Asia, right? So it's a huge refuge, and you know why this is the only Christian English speaking country in all of Southeast Asia? Think about that. It's very, very rare. Why? Because this country has a blessing from God so deep and so long in the history of Bible prophecy, it's not even funny. The original Garden of Eden was on this country, was in one of the islands of this country. There's no doubt in my mind. Do your research. I've done my research for years and years and years, and there's so much evidence. Look at the God series about the Garden of Eden and King Solomon's gold. All King Solomon's gold came from the Philippines. It wasn't called the Philippines back then. It was called Ophir, right? Ophir. And this country of the Philippines is unbelievably protected by God. That's how you know that why is it the only English Christian country in all of Southeast Asia? All the rest of them are Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, right? All the other countries, Southeast Asia, are all these pagan countries, and this is the only one that's Christian English speaking. I mean, think about it. That gets you on the trail right there to be curious and look for the reasons why that is, and do your research about the Garden of Eden. I mean, if you really study your Bible, after the fall, when Eve ate the apple, and Adam and Eve and then Eve gave the apple to Adam, and they were instructed by God not to eat from the tree of good and evil. They were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and at that time, the Garden of Eden was called paradise also back then, and it went because of a massive earthquake when they were kicked out. Somehow the whole Garden of Eden was sucked down into the earth underneath the Philippines, and to this day there's a passageway, a hidden passageway guarded by an angel and a sword of fire, so this Garden of Eden is down inside the earth with a passageway protected by an angel. It said specifically a cherub with this sword, so no one could ever find it, right? And I'm sure it's hidden where the eyes of man probably can't even ever see it, right? But anyways, read the history on all that. All the gold from the greatest temple that there ever was, a completely golden palace that the richest man in the world at that time, King Solomon in Israel, all that gold was gotten from the Philippines, or Ophir back then. It's an amazing story. You have to look at the God series, was the name of it, and it's King Solomon's Gold, or the Garden of Eden. He has a bunch of videos on it, and it's absolutely undisputable that the Garden of Eden was here in the Philippines, and it's going to blow your mind, right? So that's why it's another reason all these pieces start falling together, and that's why I knew that the Philippines was the place to go, away from the coming years of absolute nuclear destruction of the earth, and a safe place to be before Jesus returns. There's no doubt in my mind. So come to the Philippines if you want your family to be safe and you want them to thrive away from all the absolute terrible things coming very, very soon here. So do the best you can to secure yourself and your family so they won't suffer, because these other countries and what's going to be ground zero is the U.S. You can see it happening, right? All the countries of the world just hate the U.S. and England so much that they'll be slaughtering the citizens of UK and the US, wherever they are in the world, in these other countries, where people are going to be just crazy in their mind and rise up and start slaughtering them. So a lot of the Christians are going to have to die for Jesus. If they don't, they're going to lose their faith and their salvation if they deny Christ, right? And it's going to get really, really bad. So I'm just trying to warn you. I mean, people trying to always spin a positivity on everything. Well, yeah, the positivity is once you're here in the Philippines, life is wonderful because you can, just you and yours can survive and be happy and live in harmony and peace and leave all the world behind, because the whole rest of the world's going to be unbelievable. I really think that God's going to put a dome of protection over the Philippines, and people here are going to absolutely thrive and be okay. But the rest of the world, complete total destruction and chaos in so many ways. So I mean, the facets of destruction that are going on right now are so many that I can't even fathom it hardly, how many places and systems are breaking down, how the hatred and the evil from hell is, and from all the evil countries now have been given authority to destroy America because of all the sin in America. It's at a pinnacle right now, and then when it breaks, people are going to be absolutely flabbergasted of how quick it happens, because it's always in history. It's a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and we're every day now. There's new attacks, new slaughtering of people, new things in the financial system collapsing, and they're working overtime trying to keep a computer AI reign on the financial markets to try to keep them from not collapsing right now. I mean, it's everything they can do to try to keep the system going. And like I say, a little bit more, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's going to happen so fast. People are going to lose their entire life savings overnight. And I literally mean that. These stock markets are so manipulated and so controlled by AI black box algorithms. All people's life savings are going to be wiped out overnight, where you can't even get out of what you think you got. Majority of what you think you got is all a lie anyways. Rehypothecated stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency, all that stuff is all just digits, algorithms, and digits on a screen. They mean nothing. The only thing that's going to mean anything to you is savings. That's going to save you and your family is literal, in your hand. Land you can touch, things you can touch, coins, gold and silver coins. I mean, all this stuff you're going to need to survive. Make sure you have that stuff. In the Philippines, it's not like first world countries. Everyone uses gold already, and they have for centuries, as a means of storing your wealth. And it still happens today here. So it's a completely different mindset. You have to get all this, learn and research. Get to the Philippines, marry a Filipino, buy land, accumulate gold and silver, have all this stuff in your possession. Anything that you have in the markets and stuff, you're going to lose overnight. There ain't no doubt in my mind it's going to happen. I mean, it's happened in the past many times. I mean, in the 20s, when the stock market crashed in 1929, banks failed. The government shut down all the banks. They revalued gold, and then they confiscated all the gold from the people. The ones that were stupid enough to go and turn their gold in for paper money. I mean, just because the government tells you to do something with the threat of fines and imprisonment, what are they going to send law enforcement to every single home in the entire country to dig around and try to find your gold. It ain't gonna happen, right? So disregard all that stuff. Disregard 90% of what they tell you to do, because it's all crap. It's all greed and criminal activity. Until we get some good, decent people in our governments again, not career politicians, but good, honest people that have an interest to have their families survive and to be successful in the future and to do best for the country, right? So that's the most important thing, and hopefully that can happen with the revolution that's going to happen very shortly here. The whole Trump thing. As soon as Trump won the caucuses in a landslide, 51%. It's never happened before in the history of the United States, where one candidate in the very first caucus of the primaries won 51%. Landslide victory, right? Never happened before. And as soon as that happened, the news came out, just my whole spirit was starting to get crushed, because I knew that the evil ones, and they're in the deep state in the U.S. Deep state is all these three-letter agencies, right? They're the ones that can really control the country and the presidency. The presidency now, ever since they assassinated JFK in 1963, the year I was born, they've been in control of the United States, and their control has increasingly been stronger and stronger and stronger, and their evil and destruction that they've done to the country is just gone, exponential. And those are the agencies that need to be eliminated. And I knew that as soon as because Trump has threatened already to get rid of them, although when he was in there before as president 4 years, he never did it, right? It needs to be soon and swift, and that's what needs to be done. Otherwise the U.S. is totally lost. I mean, there's going to be major pain to go through, whether just to clean house. And cleaning house means getting all these unelected officials and all these bought and paid for officials that are right now in all of Congress, get them, wipe the slate clean and start over, because that's what needs to be done. And never have these three-letter agencies come back ever again. FBI, CIA, IRS, all those unelected bureaucracies that have major power over the elected officials, because this whole system is just bribery and corruption to the level that you wouldn't imagine. And they don't care about anyone but themselves and their evil cabal that they're a part of, which is completely satanic. So this is the things that you need to know about and research it. Don't take my word for it. You ain't gonna take my word for it anyways. I'm just telling you all the things I've done, and I as an individual have done steps in my life once all these truths came out, to completely stop funding these evil people and this broken system that's destroying the country. You have to stop it as an individual. It has to start with one person, and then it'll spread from there. But if you say, oh, what can I do? I'm just one person. I'm just going to keep on going with this evil system, even though I know it's wrong. Why would you do that? People are fearful. That's why. They're so fearful that they're going to lose all their worldly possessions, and maybe if they have a wife, they're oh, what are you doing that? You're going to cause a trouble. It doesn't matter. You're going to go to your deathbed knowing that you did right, no matter how hard it was, or are you going to go there saying, oh, I lived a lie my whole life, and now my children are living in a world that's a big lie, and getting ripped off and taken advantage of, and they're like slaves. Wouldn't you want to free free your family from the slavery system that is out there right now, the completely corrupt system that's only benefiting these evil cabals. You have to take a stand, people. Otherwise, you're doomed. You're completely doomed. Even if it means sacrificing your life to take a stand. At least maybe your children are going to have a better life in the future. I mean, our Constitution in the United States clearly stated that. That's why we had the Second Amendment with the right to bear arms. We were supposed to, as the people of the U.S., take these tyrannical governments out if it got so bad like this. I mean, that's the Constitution of the U.S. That's the founding fathers of our country gave us the Second Amendment to absolutely take out a tyrannical government that has emerged within the country. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the amendment, right? And that's why the evil government now keeps trying to take the guns away. I mean, that's just the God's honest truth. So anyways, I hope you can share this video and keep spreading the word and take personal action. So many people are, they're getting their government checks or free government checks, and they don't want to rock the boat because they're living on the easy street of free government money. And that's another thing, right? Because the governments don't want them to revolt, so they give them free money, and then they won't revolt. Well, now the situation is so bad with inflation, and people can't even hardly live anymore. So it's time to take a stand, Americans and UK Brits and all these countries with a completely evil, tyrannical government. You need to take a stand and take your country back. I'm not saying, the BRICS nations, China, Russia, all the other, now it's Saudi Arabia's joined the BRIC nations. I mean, now there's like 40 some countries, and they control the majority of resources now in the world. I'm not saying that those countries are any better. Their governments are tyrannical also. But what are you going to do? You got to take care of your country first, and then deal with them later. But now it's such at a point that I don't think it can ever be turned around and changed. Good morning. I don't think it can ever be turned around and changed. I don't think it. I think we're in the end game right now. Absolute end game. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi, little boy. Good morning. So anyways, I'll let you guys go. It's a long one. And anyways, I live and breathe it every day. I know exactly the pulse beat of what's going on in the deep jungle in my province in the Philippines, and between Bible prophecy and all the turmoil that's going on in the world. I was given a gift or a curse, whatever you want to call it, that just has a deep discernment of what you should do. And that's why I heeded the call of the Lord when he said, come to the Philippines. You have to get out. Just like he was saying that to so many Jews in Germany before they were all rounded up and slaughtered, right? Slaughtered in concentration camps. God said, get out of the country, and some heeded the call. Some were able to escape Germany and Poland and all those areas. Some were able to escape, but it was probably 5 to 10% that listened to God, what he was telling you. Because if you can discern and get out of your own little world and you can see the big picture, how bad things get, little bit, more and more and more, and how bad it's starting to get, and all of a sudden, your life going to be taken away from you. Everything that you knew was going to be destroyed overnight. That's how quick it happens. And you just got to heed the call. Heed the call. No matter what, if you want to survive, that's what you got to do. And then a lot of those Jews that got out, that heeded the Lord's call, went to different countries, to escape that, and they were fine. And that's what I've done for me and my family here in the Philippines. We built our home for the next century, or whatever it takes, in the only truly God-blessed country that's left in the world. There's no doubt about that. And the biggest part of that is no divorce. And that is a massive blessing that God is putting on this country, because the country and the government still has a constitution that says divorce is illegal. So the destruction of the family is very minor compared to all these other countries. So do your research big time. Take care, guys. I really love you all, and I hope this helped you in some way. And really take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.